experiences that they've gone through and that they are about or that they are going to go through. Again, I'm excited to be with you tonight. I'm going to share with you 4 things that which I know are going to make a tremendous difference in your life. If you're the type of person that you're tired of kicking the tires and running into the same people and meeting with the same experiences, but if you're the type of person that you're ready to actually make the transition to a newer and better and brighter life and relationship and experience, this will be for you. The first thing is that many of the individuals that you're going to meet that are going to be classified as manipulators, they will be able to see that you have a good heart. And why that's important, what's up, Renee? Why that is important is because when they see that you have a good heart, thank you for the taps and likes and the shares. When they see that you have a good heart, it will be identified based upon things that you say, your mindset, the way that you think, the way that you perceive things, the way that you do things. And an example just came to my mind as I was sitting here and I was talking or thinking. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, associate I knew from online, and we went to a place in Atlantic City. And we went during the off season. And so the off season represents that a lot of the parking places and different things like that. People aren't always sitting there and they're not ready to take their money as far as when you go to park and do different things like that. And we end up going to an event, and after the event, I was coming out to pay for parking, and nobody was around to pay for me to pay for parking. I'm trying to find somebody, and I'm going all these different places. I'm talking to people. I'm like, because I would rather do the thing what's right instead of doing what's wrong. And I told this person, I was like, or this person was like, just leave. Why are you trying to pay these people? And I mean, she's having a big debate with me about what I should do morally or not do. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I would rather do the right thing. So from that point, this person called me, oh, Mr. Do the right thing. And so the point behind that story is, regardless of the people are watching or not, or sitting there actually, you're on camera or not, if you are a person that your agenda is to do the right thing, then you're going to do the right thing, because that's the way that you're geared and you're made, and you think differently than other people. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, because this person, they made an assessment about me based upon my mindset concerning making sure that I do things right. And it might not be a big deal to you, but I'm saying for me, I would rather, I think in terms of other business people, because his employee wasn't there, but the person that owned that company, they still wanted that revenue because I still took and used their service. And so I was thinking in terms of that, and being a business owner, and in terms of wanting to do the right thing and treating people right, and all of those things that go along with being someone that is ethical and moral. The people that you meet that are master manipulators, their agenda is not to do what is ethical and moral. Their agenda is to try to find loopholes. Their agenda is to always find a little gray area where they can kind of navigate and do their little dirt and their little things. And nobody's there to point it out or to talk about it. And so the first thing is, again, is they will be able to see that you have a good heart based upon your actions, based upon your words, and based upon your deeds. Put that in the comments. Actions, words, and deeds. Put it in the comments. Actions, words, and deeds. Put it in the comment. Appreciate y'all being in here. Thank y'all for the taps, the likes, the shares. Because if you are a person that your agenda is to do the right thing, you're going to do what's right, regardless of if there's no one there or someone there. Because this is about you and how you see yourself on a moral level. The things that you want to take care of, the things that you want to do that are right, the things that you are considering righteous right before you and the Most High. So the first thing is, they know they're going to be able to tell the difference between you and them based upon your heart, the way that you talk, the way that you think, the way that you handle things, the way that you approach things. And so because they can see your heart and they see your actions and they see the way you move, then they're going to be able to know that, you know what, this person doesn't do what I do. This is a personal assessment that they're going to make based upon knowing the way that they think. Just like you know the way that you think, someone that has a manipulative energy, they know the way that they think. Because behind the scenes in their mind, they have different thoughts that is going through their minds about what is the next step and what is the next thing that they're going to do. So first thing is, they will be able to see your heart and know that you have a good heart. Based upon knowing that you have a good heart, If their agenda isn't to do the right thing, then then what they're going to do is um, they're going to use your goodness against you. And so if you're a person that, and when I talk about a good heart, and just to give you a brief definition, when I talk about of someone that has a good heart, someone that has a heart that they consider other people, someone that has a mindset of service, and that everything that goes on in their life isn't about taking from everybody and doing and everybody giving and doing something for them, but someone that has a mindset of service and helping other people, and they want to do it from a genuine place. And so the first thing again is genuine or purity of heart. The second thing is they're going to want to get connected to you. The easiest way for anybody to connect to you is verbally through words. Especially, they say that men are more drawn towards visual, what they see visually, and women generally they say are more drawn towards what they hear. And so, if someone wants to connect with you, and their agenda isn't something that's above board, they're going to use words. Words. That's why spelling, words, dictation, what they're saying, how they're, because people speak things over you. This is why you have to be careful. This is why even before you go out into society, you should be covering yourself in prayer. You should be covering, put that in the chat, cover yourself. You should be covered in prayer. You should have that Psalms 91 should be something that you're carrying as a banner and as a shield as you walk through this life. You know that the Most High is your shield and He's your buckler. That He's there. That He's going to go before you. That He's going to protect you from the snares and the fowlers and all the things that are going to come against you that are trying to tear you down or trying to destroy you. But because you are under divine protection, because you put forth a prayer, or you took the time to meditate and to see yourself in a source of energy and see yourself in a source of protection, there's no arrow that an adversary can shoot against you that they're going to be able to win, because you're operating from a spiritual level, y'all. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So, but they're going to use words, and those words are even when you look at the example of in the garden, what did that adversary, what did the enemy use? He used his words to tell Eve, "Oh, you won't surely die," to beguile, to dazzle, to hook, to bedazzle her, to hook her. He threw the hook out there. He threw words in that allegory, in that example. And this is the way the people that you're going to meet in life that are not about your best or about you getting and achieving your best, that's how they're going to come to you. And so it's going to be through words. And so with those words would be used to do a couple different things. These two things are the things where they really hook you. The words is the first initial part, but the other two parts is they want to get you emotionally connected. The easiest way to get most people emotionally connected, especially if they are not a person that has just been free and loose and just doing a bunch of things, is by getting involved with them through intimacy, sexual intimacy. When you get sexually intimate with a person, especially, again, I'm using general, I'm painting with a broad stroke, because there's some men that this applies to, and there's some women that this applies to, or vice versa. And so with that broad stroke, what I'm talking about is that when generally what is taught is that when women are intimate with someone, and generally it's because they actually love the person, they care about them, and because of that, when they open up themselves to that person, they talk about in the study that I read, it talked about that women bond to that person many times, unless she's been with a lot of different people and had a lot of experiences, and she's to the point where it's not a big deal to her. But I'm talking about someone who intimacy is something that they're slower on. They don't just jump into something with somebody. They take their time. They try to get to know the person. They try to make sure that there's some kind of true chemistry, and it's truly something that's going to go somewhere. And so, but what happens through that intimacy, there's an emotional connection that takes place. And through that emotional connection, in combination with the words, the physical activity, and the intimacy and all these things, this is how the manipulation starts. And it all started with the words. It started with them, first of all, identifying you as someone that has a good heart. And your good heart, again, was identified by the things that you say, but not only by the things that you say, they saw what you did. because they were watching you. That they watched you and they saw the things that you did when nobody else was around. That's why if you get a chance, go back and listen to that story I used to show the example of the heart. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank y'all for the taps, the likes, the shares. Again, I was in the other room studying some things or reading some things, and I said, let me come on here real quick and just share something real quick. I appreciate y'all being in here tonight. Thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in, because I know that there's other things that you could be doing, but you're here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not following me, go follow this page, like, share, subscribe, and all those good things. And so they want to be connected to you sexually. They want to connect to you on an emotional level. They're going to want to because they're going to want you to want them. They're going to want you to desire them. And so this is why that manipulation is usually tied into gifts and activities and things that they're going to do, because that's where a lot of times the love bombing comes in, where they're going to give and do a lot of things initially when you meet them in that relationship, but as the relationship goes on, they're going to pull back. There's going to be a pullback on those activities, and when there's a pullback on those activities, and you bring it to the person's attention, then what's going to happen is they're going to make an excuse about something that you did as to the reason why they stopped doing A, B, C, or X, Y, and Z. But all the time, what it is they wanted you to get hooked to whatever that was, whether it was intimacy, whether it was the cuddling, whether it was the gifts, whether it was the trips, whether it was the money, whatever it was. Those are just the things that were used. Because these people, when you're dealing with master manipulators, they do a lot of giving. They're the people that'll cook you a pie, if you're sick, they'll cook you. And not every person that does that qualifies under that guidelines. But I'm telling you, a lot of people that you meet that are master manipulators, they're going to use certain things. They're going to use the things that should be good for negative. But the whole time having a thought in their mind, an agenda in their mind behind the scenes of what they're attempting to do. Thank y'all for tapping the screen. Thank y'all for the likes. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank y'all for your comments too. And so, like I said, men are generally more visual as far as what they see. Women, from what they say, are more actually what they hear. More words, stories, and fantasies, and all those things. The third thing is, if you meet an individual that you are thinking about dating, that you met, and you're talking to them, and so on and so forth, if they are hurrying you. So what that means, what does that mean? I find that for whatever reason, when I meet people, they always want to marry me. I don't know why, because I am not interested in no marriage. And I say that from the door. But that's another piece, is that they think they can change me. They're always in a hurry. They're always in a rush to get you to be their boyfriend or their whatever words you're using, boyfriend, girlfriend, marry, whatever. They're in a hurry to get you. They're in a hurry to, and I find that the women that I meet that are always in a hurry, they're in a hurry sexually too. They're going to give you the goods real early, real quick, because again, they're trying to get you hooked into something. They're trying to get you in a place where they think that you need them. And so the thing that I'm trying to warn people of with this video is that if people are rushing you, and as far as rushing you with commitments and things like that, if someone is ready to commit to you, they're going to commit to you. Why should you have to rush them? Why should you put pressure on them? If you're pressuring someone to do something, is that love or is that manipulation? That's the question. Maybe they're unsure. Maybe they've been in a serious situation before you, and they're just trying to just make sure. If you're a person that's about doing the right thing, why would you have a problem with that? This is the way you have to think concerning this. Yes, you have to think on an emotional level, but you also have to come from a logical, intellectual level when dealing with this issue, which can be challenging because this is still an emotional connection that you have with them, based upon conversations, based upon being on the phone for 2 hours and talking to them, and maybe going out to dinner, and starting to build some type of friendship, and going through the motions and whatever else that you're doing. This is all part of it. So the third thing would be they're always in a hurry. The fourth thing, and I'm gonna be done, is that a lot of times what I find with people that you're going to meet, especially people that are in the spiritual community. I've had women tell me, and this is why I make videos about some of this stuff, because I get direct messages. I get messages from women, and they tell me, oh yeah, they had a dream, and God told me that you're my spouse, and we're supposed to do this, that, and the other, and what I tell them, and I don't say this in a disrespectful way. I said, well, I seek God too. I said, and if He told you that, and if that was true, He should have told me the same thing. Stop allowing people to use um, your spiritual leanings against you. That's something that I went through in my marriage. The person I was with, she knew where I stood spiritually, and she used most of the things that I. That's why it was easy for me to manipulate myself, because she would use my spirituality against me, and I was too dense and ignorant in that time to understand it. I couldn't see it because I was thinking in terms of the way I think and my mindset and my agenda, but she had another agenda. She had another mindset. This is part of why I'm sharing all this. Not every person you meet has the same mind as you. Not every person you meet, and even if you think you know them, there's sometimes you don't actually know them. You don't know them. That's why you have to take your time. But they're going to present themselves to be someone that's healed. They're going to present themselves to be a righteous person. I am what I am. I tell people from the door, I am what I am. I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm not claiming to be a preacher. I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm someone that my religion and my spiritual, well, I can't even say my religion, my spiritual beliefs is tied into a couple different activities: my meditation and my prayer and my breath work, my time alone, my time and dedication and commitment. All the other stuff that people put importance on, that's don't tie me into your box with all that other stuff. Don't, because I studied that stuff for. When I say studied, I'm not talking about just reading. I studied. I got books in my other room where studied history on a lot of the different things that people believe, and they think that's and they're basing their whole life on. And I don't say this to discredit anybody or just disillusion anybody. I'm just saying that we're in different places. The most important thing for me right now is making sure that I'm fulfilling the reason for my existence and my purpose, but also having a relationship with the Almighty, which I do through prayer, meditation, and breath work. Getting back into a place where I can hear the voice of the Creator. Because I asked this question to a minister friend of mine over last week, and I said, you're trying to tell me about, and I'm going to get back on the dating thing, but the only point that I wanted to make is that I told him, I said, how did people in the Old Testament have a relationship with God? That's the only question I asked him, and he thought about it for a while, and I said, because they didn't have any books, they didn't have anything. They had to build a relationship. And so that's where I'm at. I'm back to grassroots. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with books but men have tampered with a lot of things. And now, and once they tampered, and this is where this ties into what I'm teaching, is that they're tampering is part of the manipulation that they're promoting now. They want to promote certain things based upon what they have done to try to control people. You can't control someone who actually has a real relationship with the Most High. You can't, because they know His voice. And a stranger, they're not following. They're not following the masses and following what everybody else is doing in ignorance. The blind leading the blind. My grandfather would often talk about that, the blind leading the blind. What's going to happen? They're all going to just fall into a ditch. So that's my thought for you all tonight. If you want more information, you're looking to get some coaching, you're looking to move past the pain point of where you are as far as in your relationships and in your dating into a healthier, more joyous point, a place where you can actually start experiencing life the way you need to. DM me down in the comments and say help. Also, I have some breathing techniques that I'm willing to share with people that are interested in getting the coaching in that area. Because a lot of the sickness that people have, a lot of the stresses, a lot of the anxiety, even the depression can be resolved. I mean, I have scientific studies that can back this up and verify it, where they actually can see that there's certain breathing techniques that can stop a lot of the issues that people are having in the various areas of their life. And that's part of the reason why I do certain those things, because I understand that health starts with our breath and our breathing. When you pass, one of the things that happens is your heart stops, but you stop breathing too. When the Most High breathes, He breathed into us what? The breath of life. Where now we're living, we are alive. And so that's my thought for y'all for tonight. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank y'all for the comments. Thank y'all for the likes, the chats. I don't even know if y'all are still in here because I can't tell who's in here or not. But oh yeah, I can see over in that corner. My bad. But I think there's 2 people in here. It might be 3. But appreciate y'all being in here. Thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in tonight. And so y'all have any questions? Anything y'all want to talk about? Cause I'll leave. I'll stay on here for a little while. We can have a conversation if y'all have any questions or anything you want to talk about. Renee, are you still in here? I guess I should have texted you, let you know I was gonna come on here. And my Renee's not in here. She just turned it on and left. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. I appreciate the likes. Thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all have any questions, you need any help, you're looking to move to the next level and get yourself on track, DM me down in the comments and say help. Like I always say, I believe in you, but you gotta believe in yourself. Thanks. If you have any comments or anything that you want to ask, going once, going twice, so